And I just remember December 2012. That was also the year that was depicted in Assassin's Creed 3, the day the world was going to end. So that's a funny way to remember it. So, and that was the way my world ended. I remember at 8:50 a.m., the guy who sexually harassed me said, "Hey, Mrs. I forget her name," and it was reading class. He was reading. And I remember I was reading Frankenstein Monster on a graphic novel. And I remember the guy who sexually harassed me. He was a big school bully. That's the thing that makes it terrifying. Everybody knew him. Everybody. To me, he was like one of the cool kids that was mean and kind of slutty and could get away with anything. Or thought he could get away with anything. That's the characteristic that he depicted. And I remember he has to go to use restroom. And the reading teacher's like, "Sure, that's fine, go ahead." So it's past that time, and at 9:05 a.m., I remember I had to use a restroom. Like, I had to go. I had a bladder. Like, usually in the morning, I always have to go use restroom. Because I love to drink sweet tea or good chocolate milk in the morning before I go to school. And I remember the reading teacher was not in a good mood. I remember her, like, getting snarky at me. "Alright, fine, go." Because I was like, "I have to go. I really have to go." Because she was like, "Really? I don't know why the hell you guys always have to go." The guy who bullied me did not come back. And I remember going. He is pacing back and forth, talking to himself. I didn't realize it at the time, what he was talking about. But I just remember seeing him like a little creep, like he looked like he was gonna be a school shooter. Like at some point he was gonna pick up a gun and shoot. That's how paranoid he was. And I know that's kind of harsh, but that's how scary it was. I know it seems alarming, but he seemed like a crazy person waiting to strike. So I remember blowing it off and just going to the urinals. So I pee. And I remember the school bully peeing right next to me, going to the urinals next to me, peeing right next to me, and the next thing I know, he's putting his shoulder around me. It was his right shoulder or left, wrapped around me. Like, and it was weird because it was like, "I got you. Like, I could do this to you," kind of shoulder or arm. Like, "Come here, I'm going to do this." But it was like very gentle and very caressing. And then I remember him saying, "Doesn't this feel nice, Corey?" And what happened next is, as I'm using the restroom, he reaches over and he's caressing my pubic hair. And I don't think of it as touching, he's like caressing it. He's like, doesn't this feel nice, Corey? And I just remember going black. Like shot, like that gunshot or that sun sharp moment. Like when Steven Yeun from The Walking Dead gets shot and killed. And everyone's just shocked. Like, like all that feels like, oh my gosh. Or those moments in the scene where there's a gunshot or there's a shocking moment and you're like, your breath is just taken away. That's what happened, and everything in my mind went black. Like I shut off like a robot. And I remember him walking away, him using the restroom, and then he's done what he was doing to me, and then he walked away. I remember still being in the urinal, like pissing, being in, like still peeing and just being real shocked and black, like a robot being turned off. And I remember he walked out of the restroom, and I waited. Because I did not want to jump at him. I did not want him to touch me again. And then I go, walk out, and everything is fine. And then I go, it goes out as a normal day. The whole rest of the day goes completely normal. And I just remember walking out of school, and then I made a joke about it to my mom, because we were all laughing, and my mom shouted, "He did what to you, Corey? He did what?" And my mom was just shot black, and I had a teacher who she was not only a teacher, she was a middle school Spanish teacher who was tutoring me. And she was the school teacher that went to my school. Except I didn't take any English or Spanish or any diversity literature English classes, you know. And I remember them getting reported. My mom reporting it, my dad reporting it. My dad was fucking furious. My mom was furious. Because how could this happen? And I remember, this is where it gets really fucked up. This whole situation. And I remember telling the principal. And this becomes an issue where it's a he said, she said situation. A little. Because, you know, they have to go back and tell and ask, okay, this school bully did you, and they talked to the school bully. He confirms it straight out of the dark, and to his parents, I remember them telling us, the principal telling us, his parents wanted to send him to military school. They wanted him thrown out of the school and being sent to military school. The principal is like, no, we want to keep this guy here. We want to keep him here because we do not want to raise any suspicion. and we're going to have you and Corey sign these document papers silencing you. We signed the papers. I remember signing them, saying I will not talk about it. I will not speak about it. He is in suspension. He can't go to the school for at least a month or two. I remember it was like 2 or 3 months. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's back in class. English and math were stuff that I heard on, and I had mental health issues. And so they had to have classes where they had to teach slowly to kids who had mental disabilities, and I was one of those kids. And so was the school bully who sexually harassed me. He was in the same classroom. Literally. And all they did was switch us up to different rooms. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, as months went by, as the school year went by, I start hearing rumors that me and the school bully had sex. I remember hearing rumors that we were in a relationship. I am a huge LGBTQ supporter. I have uncles and family members who are LGBTQ activists. So for me to hear that this school bully switched it up into me having sex with them, to me being in a relationship with them, I remember that was being talked around. It was insanely hard for me, and this is why this thing is dark. That's why this whole room is dark, because this is a dark story. So, yeah, and I remember 9th grade, I heard he was spreading around rumors that we were in a relationship or that we had sex. Yeah. That's my school. That's my sexual harassment, Me Too movement story. So, yeah. It's very hard for me, especially hearing about this HBO series, which I watched called, because I have it, because I got it because of the Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League game, which I think is pretty great. I'm watching it. It's so scary. And then there's also this new document series coming out, Quiet on Set, The Truth About Kids TV, and it's about Dan Schneider. He's a prolific predator. He is so abusive, and it's amazing that, to me, it's amazing, but it's not surprising to me that a sexual predator who had an inappropriate relationship with somebody from Cuyahoga County, Ohio, which is relatively close to where I live, or where I grew up, inappropriate, abusive relationship with him. Drake Bell was the abuser. It does not surprise me, however, that the same moment Drake Bell is called an abuser, that he was abused, because that's what happens. It's a pattern. When you are in an abusive, toxic sexual relationship with someone at a young age, it carries within you as a normalcy to act like that. When someone sexually harasses you or says nasty things inappropriately, sexually touching you inappropriately at a young age, you're a young kid who has no idea in his mind how inappropriate that is. And you go back and watch the Dan Schneider shows that he created. Amanda Show, all that's completely messed up.